Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Red and Blue Review. Welcome to the Red and Blue News. My name is Nick Philpott. I am your host this evening, and thank you for joining us wherever you are watching in the world. This evening, joining me, as per usual, as you'll see on screen, are the usual suspects, Ian Lyons, Jel Holyoke, and we are joined this evening also by Ben.
Right,
Hello, Ben. How are you, mate? Thank you for joining us, dude. You all right, Jel? Nice to see you, mate.
Yeah, mate. Same shit, different day.
Oh, same shit, different day. So, Ben, can you just drop your camera down a little bit because we can just see your forehead? And Mr. Lyons.
Hello, guys. Merry Christmas, everyone.
How's the week been?
Have a good one.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, dude. He's going to moan. You know he's going to moan. Okay,
thank
so
you.
I'll go first. Yeah, I had a very good one. Thanks, mate. Oh, he's drinking out of his Red and Blue Review cup. So we'll be discussing one of those. Ian,
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Later in the show.
Yeah.
Anyway, so coming up in tonight's show, we'll be talking about two games, of course. It was the West Ham home game, the Jordan Ayew special goal, and of course, yesterday's ball draw at Southampton. And also, we will be announcing later in the show who won, the winner of the competition for one of these coveted mugs. And between Ian and I, sometime during the show, we'll announce who won that because there was one clear winner. So what did you think? Ian, I'll start with you because this is hard for me because it's I'm bouncing between the three of you. What did you think of the atmosphere, first of all, at West Ham on... When was it? Oh, it was Boxing Day.
It's definitely that time of year, isn't it, where you just haven't got a clue as to... This must be what it's like being retired, you know, not having a clue as to what day of the week it is. Yeah, the atmosphere was good, wasn't it? It was... It was obviously we'll come on to the attendance for the quiz later. But yeah, no, it was a good atmosphere, made even better by the performance, I think.
Yeah, I think. I mean, it's fair to say. I mean, I know we've been on this show, guys. Good evening. I can see you in there. I think Ian's going to pick up on the guys in the chat, so we can see everybody coming through. I think it was fair to say, Jel, that we've been quite critical of some aspects of the stadium crowd this season because obviously the move with blocking and everything else. But the last couple of home games, things have definitely changed in the whole stadium. Do you not believe? Got a slight blame.
Well, it changes when you win.
Always helps, doesn't it? Always helps.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean it's 4 points out of the last two games. Yeah, it's always going to lift the crowd.
It amazes me though. Ben, Gel's just raised the point that we're going to be talking about later anyway, which is we'll do it now as he's mentioned it. 4 points out of the last two games going into Christmas, where we'd already had a successful lead up to 4 points is a blinding result. And I mean, people were all doom and gloomy because we didn't win, but it was we're sitting pretty on 27 points, aren't we?
Oh, so you're going to have to repeat that, mate. You're really breaking up on my end.
I was just saying about our points tally so far this season. 27 points, 4 points over the Christmas period.
I think it's been a very good Christmas for us. Just going into New Year with record points for us since we've been in the Premier League, ninth in the table. We're not the most exciting to watch. We're certainly not the worst to watch. So, yeah, I don't think you can be anything but happy, to be honest with you. It's what we realistically three wins away, 4 wins from Premier League safety, and we're not even in January yet.
Yeah, absolutely right. And ladies and gentlemen outside in Facebook land, we will be getting to some of your questions later in the show. Please put your questions in the chat. We can see them. We will try and respond to them. If I don't get to them during the show, I certainly will be answering a lot of them after the show or sometime tomorrow. Ian, can you just confirm for me my sound's okay?
Well, I was just sending you a message actually saying it's really patchy. It's been okay for the last 30 seconds, but yeah, it's not great.
Not to worry. Perhaps you could start off with having a look at the bits and pieces from the first half against the West Ham game, then, Ian, while I sort my earphones out.
shot. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's we're already another game down, aren't we? So for the memory banks, we started with Gator in goal, Kelly right back, Tompkins and Sacco centre backs, with PVA back from I know it'd be second game back, wouldn't it, at that point, after having played so well at Newcastle. Kiarte, Milivojevic, MacArthur and Mayer in the midfield with Ayew and Zaha. So it looked on paper, has been picked up in the press a number of times lately. The squad's picking itself at the minute, as a direct result of the lack of personnel first team wise available. But the match itself was sort of unusually had a lot of possession. I think we ended up having close to 60% possession overall for the game itself. But the first half, they were allowing us to have the ball, and we're always looking a little uncomfortable when teams do that against us. And it just really, really exposes our lack of penetration in that final third, with just unlocking and unpicking defences. Declan Rice was doing a good job for them, screening, and it was, as I say, it just meandered on for a while. And I think the first highlight for us was when Wilf danced through the defence on the left and put a ball across the box, which evaded everyone. And Meyer, who had started brightly, even though he's never been played in his right position, he then picked the ball up and then fizzed it back across. And Ayew did well to miss it, to be fair. I mean, he got his toe right on the end of it, but it just went wide of the post. So as far as the first half is concerned, that was pretty much it. It was just a lot of posturing, a lot of posing, a lot of probing, but very little in the way of action. And they only had one shot in goal in that half as well, through Mikel Antonio.
Ben, can I ask you a question, mate? Move your camera down just a touch, if you would, please, so we can see you, or sit up straight. Yeah, that's it. That's fine, mate. Tell me your thoughts on Max Meyer, please. How did he perform against West Ham?
In general, or just for West Ham?
In the West Ham game.
I see a player in Max Meyer. I just don't see a player that suits us, our style. He does. He does everything you'd expect a kid that's been brought up in Germany to do. He's technically very good. He's got good feet. He's got good balance. He can spot a pass. But I think at the minute, he's just not the player that we need. I think he's ineffective after about 60 minutes. I think he's easily bullied off the ball. I don't think he's got the physical attributes. Yes, he's got the pass, but his passing range seems to be 10 yards, which is sideways and backwards.
Yeah.
He links play. He does. He finds Wilf, but the whole tactic of the entire team is to find Wilf. He is the outball. Wilf is the outball. Meyer isn't this player that we thought we were getting, this driving number 10, who's going to run at players and beat a man. He doesn't do it. I think he would be a very good player in another system with another team. But for me, I don't think, and I'm here to be proved wrong, that I can't see him being if all the regular players came back, and if we bought in January, I don't think we'd see a lot of him going forward.
Ian, I'm just coming back to you because I know you want to make a point. Jel, your thoughts on Max Meyer? Is there a player in there, as Ben says, or is there something? Have we missed something with him? He's clearly not the Kabay player that we thought he was going to be. Your thoughts?
He got us a point. Well, he's not played in a Kabay position. That's a dead cert. So, but he got us a point against Brighton without a doubt, and we were down and going absolutely nowhere. Most of the positive stuff yesterday went for him. It had a really decent goal. Would have been an amazing team goal disallowed by VAR. I thought he played all right. He's better than some of the options. He's certainly better than some of the kids that we got on the bench that we will never play in a million years anyway. Yeah. So, but yeah, I like him, but But I mean, I see Neil Chatterjee in the chat said he isn't worth $100,000 a week. Well, he's $100,000 a week if he's played in his right position and we got a proper centre forward to feed.
Well, firstly,
so
he's not on $100,000 a week, so that put that one out. And saying yesterday that everything went through him, of all the players that started against Southampton, he had the fewest touches. In the entire game, he had 19 touches. He had 7 in the first half. One of them.
That's because he's shoved out on the wing, though.
So I'd say that nothing's going through. I don't think he's, he's a touch sideways, a touch backwards, a link.
Yeah, but as the boys just said, Ben, as the boys just said, at the moment he's not being played in his right position. Ian, you wanted to make a point.
Well, that was exactly the point. I mean, I understand what Ben's saying. Currently, we're not seeing the best of Meyer, but that's not Meyer's fault per se. It's the fault, and Ben's quite right. We're not playing him we don't play the system that he excels in. Going on to the second half in a minute, he actually created the impetus that got us the win, as far as I'm concerned, at the West Ham game, because he actually was playing in the centre of the park and everything went through him then. And as soon as he plays in the centre of that park, Wilf comes alive. The number of times it has actually happened and been played in the middle of the park, Wilf always gives him the ball and looks for it back. And he's like a little metronome, and he just pass and move, pass and move, pass and move. I agree that the stats say yesterday that he only had 19 touches. But again, Ben's alluded to it. That's because we give everything to Wilf. So if you're on the opposite wing to Wilf, you're going to see very little of it.
Jill?
I think that Wilf is a different player when he's got Meyer around him. I think what Wilf does, he gets a positive ball off of him with an option as well to give him the pass back. Whereas most of the time when he's being fed by a left back that has been told not to go forward, then Wilf he gets the ball. He's got 2 defenders on him. He has to turn straight away. Meyer has the presence to give him the ball in a more attacking. He's already made the move forward and taken a player away because he likes to be near Wilf. So one of the 2 players that usually is going to go straight onto Wilf is going to go towards Meyer. But if Meyer gets past him, then Wilf's left with a 1-on-1, and it's been shown a few times. He definitely is a different player when he's got the other thing as well. I said to you again, Nick, and I proved the point again, is that when he's got a positive left-sided person behind him, Wilf is a different player. If you give the ball to him when he's got his back to a defender, he's going to get kicked, he's got to turn, then he's got to use his burst of speed, he's going to get brought down. But if you do what MacArthur was doing, when MacArthur was chucked in at left back against Brighton, he was playing balls over the top, curled balls over the top for Wilf to run onto, that immediately put him 1-on-1. And as soon as Wilf's got 1-on-1 with a left back, generally he has him on toast. He's proved it the last 3 games. I mean, yesterday, their left back, he must have got whiplash yesterday. The West Ham left back must have absolutely hated that game. He absolutely had him on toast. It's the same. Wilf 1-on-1 is going to do all right against most people. But I find that when Meyer's around him, and this was for last year as well, when they found themselves, within 15 yards of each other. I think their confidence breeds off each other. And I think if we don't play him, I think we're missing a trick. And the other thing as well, if we're not going to play him, then we've got to get rid. It's as simple as that. There's no point having a player whose impetus and whose attitude is attacking. That's the thing. Meyer likes to attack, and he's not brilliant at getting back. He's not brilliant at trying to. He's not fast, but what he gives us, you alluded to earlier. You said Cabaye. Cabaye wasn't fast, he wasn't big, he wasn't massively skillful. I think what we've got is a younger version of Cabaye who just needs to find a settled place in our side. And I think if he settles, then I think he'll do all right. Okay,
Ben, I'm coming back to you in a second. I just wanted to say hello to everybody that is watching. Ian, you can do some hellos in a minute if you're a piece of kind. But those that you are watching, could I ask a favour for you? If you know how to do it on your handset, set a watch party on your own personal wall. Get as many people involved in the show as you like. Get them watching the show this evening for us. Just go share, then watch party, and get as many people on your own personal walls watching the show so we can say hello to them as well. Ben, you wanted to make a point before I hand over to Ian?
To go back to what Joel was saying is, I think, and if I don't know if any of you subscribe to The Athletic, that Matt Wisdom's article this afternoon is that the thinking was that Mayer was a very real probability that he would be going in January.
Really?
So I know injuries probably mean that he won't, but just his stats, he's played 29 games. He's played 1,410 minutes. That's less than 45 minutes per appearance. He scored 1 goal and hasn't played 90 minutes apart from Everton this season.
Okay, Ian, you want to do something?
If that's the player that is our, attacking force, then there must be something that Hodgson's not seeing, because he ain't. The minutes don't bear out what we're saying.
No. Sorry, Ian.
I think that then brings into question as to was he Hodgson's player? Did he go for him? Because I would necessarily agree, and I think both Jel and I, would agree with you on this, in that he's not Hodgson type of player. That's why he's not getting the chances. So the question then has to be, why the hell do we sign him? It's just bonkers.
Okay.
Well, you can level the same question at Camarasa.
A couple of players.
And the answer is
without a doubt.
Don't want him.
Exactly.
And there is players that there is assertions that we didn't sign players in the summer. We were offered a right back and a centre forward, and Hodgson said he wouldn't play either, so we didn't sign him.
He wouldn't play either or pay either, did you say?
He wouldn't have them, wouldn't play them. They were offered him, there was deals done for him. William Jose at Real Sociedad. We also had a deal done for Ollie Watkins, which we managed to screw up, but we were offered William Jose, Real Sociedad. Hodgson said he didn't want him.
Right, okay, listen, this is good stuff. Okay, great interaction and great conversation, but we're supposed to be reviewing the West Ham game, so we'll move on to the second half. Jel, can you see the contributors on the page?
Yeah, I can.
So do some hellos, and then we'll move on to getting to do the second half of you, be so kind.
Do some hellos, blimey.
Yeah.
Okay, Tim Richards, Max Francis, Wilden, Jason Green, Jordan O'Day, Lee Lockwood, Ian Hadley, Andrew Adams. I'm not even going to...
I saw it.
All right, that's all you're going to get off me.
Sven
Spain, Rodvi Nielsen.
Don't
I don't know
butcher
if
it.
it's a silent L or J, but anyway.
Welcome,
Sven.
I imagine he's from Finland, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, that way.
Steve Camacho.
But welcome. Steve Charler. Yes, there's the usual suspects.
And a few extras.
Just G him up, Graham O'Neill. Is it one of these lot that we in here now that have won the mug?
We're not
saying Joey Addock's in there as well. Evening, Mark Easton.
John Knox is there. Hello, Johnny.
No, it's not. Oh, so
I've got Ashley
joined
Dowie
as well. Evening, Bob.
Paul Holden's there. Mark Easton's. I can't possibly divulge that information, Jill. Not until a specific time when who's going to win one of these.
Sven is from the Faroe Islands.
Oh, wow.
See, we are now reaching all parts of the globe, ladies and gentlemen.
He said Sven is Oki and Faroe.
Oh. I didn't hear what you said. Sven, Oki from the Faroe Islands. Well, Sven, you are welcome, my man, as well as everybody else, wherever you're watching. Thank you for joining us as we celebrate 4 points so far over the Christmas period, and we've got Norwich away to come. So there is plenty of opportunity there for maybe to capitalise on that. Anyway, we'll move on. Ian, second half, please, my man.
Yeah, I'll fly by this because obviously we've got another game. Right, so the second half started off in a better tempo with some early pressure from Palace. First 2 minutes came to nothing before we were then hit with a sucker punch of a goal from who else but Snodgrass. Always seems to score against us.
Oh, I hate him so much.
I have to say it was a lovely through ball by Antonio, who from all accounts had written his motor off the night before. But he did well.
Lambo, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did well. He parked it in someone's garden, I think.
Sorry.
That's as a snowman.
Yeah.
Was he? I didn't see that.
Right.
Wearing a snowman outfit.
Maybe his eyes fell out as he was driving. Right, okay, so 1-0 down. 65 minutes. PVA then pulls up with his hamstring again. did the wise thing, didn't push it any further. I'm not sure as to how long he's going to be out for. Ben, do you know?
Weeks, not months, is
right. Okay.
It doesn't settle. They have to have the scans, but he went off before he did it. Some serious damage.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good that he's actually listening to his body. So Riedeveld came on. We obviously saw him a couple of games ago. I think it was Watford, wasn't it? He came on, looked a bit of a fish out of water in that, but he looks to have done some timber as well. He looks to have sharpened up a little bit. I know that our very own Mr. Philpott will keep an eye on everyone's figures, as he often says about Benteke. So I'm sure he'll let you know how many pounds he's lost. But Jare came on and settled in really well, and he's always been a technically good player, one of the better technical players, but for some reason or other, he's not managed to break in. But hopefully he'll take a chance he's got now and come on leaps and bounds, hopefully. On 65 minutes, 3 minutes after Jare came on, we get a goal. Long ball into the box, saw Ayew rise between two defenders. Whether or not he was trying to nod it back into the path of Kouyaté, I'm not entirely convinced. But nevertheless, it was laid on a plate for him, and he smashed the volley in. And understandably, and full respect for him, not actually wanting to celebrate, but it was good to see him score because he was actually getting a bit bullied in that midfield. When everything was on the deck, he was doing really well. But when it came to the physical side of things, I think he was getting a bit bullied. So it was good for him, especially as he's been playing with an injury as well these last few games. On 75 minutes, after Maya obviously had come into the middle and started to tick things over and started to move the ball around a lot quicker than we had previously, Wickham came on, Mr. Bump. For those of you who haven't seen Bub's latest Palace minute, you'll love that. Him as Mr. Bump and Ayew as Mr. Happy. Then Wickham comes on. And to be fair, he looked all right. He looked half decent. He was limping after 10 minutes, but, that's par for the course. But he actually gave Ogbonna, who at the time was bossing Ayew or Wilf, he actually gave him a run for his money. And his physical presence, he should probably have poked that one-on-one he got away, even though it was probably be called off for offside. But nevertheless, it was quite promising for Wickham. And
Ian, can I just stop you? I want to ask the three of you a question because I honestly don't know the answer to this. The Wickham one-on-one you're just alluding to, I didn't see it played back and replayed in others. Was it offside, gentlemen? And if you can't answer it, maybe come in the chat. Jel was saying no. Go, Jel.
Yard on.
Was he?
Yard on from what I saw. I didn't see any of the commentary team turn around and say it would have been pulled back VAR. So I didn't see the lino get his flag up, nothing at all. So if he'd have scored, it would have stood. I thought it was a yard on.
Oh, I saw it differently. I thought I saw him as being just slightly off.
I think
but
he would
could be wrong.
Judged offside personally, but the linesman doesn't flag for offside anymore, does he? You have to give it 30 seconds or something before they even.
Yeah, if he stuffs it in the onion bag, he knows it's going to get reviewed anyway, doesn't he? I suppose. But
they're obsolete now, linesmen, apart from telling you which way a throw-in's going, because it just.
Even then they wait for the ref to give them the answer.
Yeah, so
correct.
I think going back, that possibly would have been ruled out, unless he was wearing a Liverpool shirt.
Well, in the crowd, I'm telling you now, in the crowd, they were doing their piece because he didn't put that chance away. And like Benteke, in fairness to Wickham, they both need a goal, but they can't buy a goal. Sorry, Ian, I interrupted you. Crack on, please.
That's quite all right. Well, on 80 minutes, Gyro to the rescue. He made a fantastic tackle right at the death. Just as Snodgrass has got the ball at his mercy and just about to pick the corner out. Gyro slides in out of nowhere and blocks it and saves us from going 2-1 down. And then we saw some more pressure, so the pressure from them, I should say. We started to get a little jittery. The crowd started to get a little jittery. But on 89 minutes, then Ayew just sprinkled some magic onto that Sellers pitch, didn't he? Gets the ball out wide, runs right across their back line, does a little pirouette, leaving Ogbonna and Balbuena to just grasp at thin air. And then as he's through on goal, and everyone's going, "This is it. He's just going to pass it to him." He then just lifts it over the goalkeeper, a la Benteke at Chelsea, a couple of seasons back.
I thought the same.
And cue meltdown. The place just erupted.
Yeah, absolutely. And Neil Chatterjee just made a point in the chat. Jel, I don't know if you saw it, or Ben, but the best part of all of it, what happened on that evening, was the ruck between Mark Noble and O'Connor. And they were. I thought they were going to cut the blows at one point. Did you see it, Jel?
Yeah. I mean, but the thing with Noble is if he can't fight the opposition players, you now know that his temperament is he's going to fight his own. The guy's an idiot. He's an absolute idiot.
That's so true.
The thing is, there's no one. We don't have the steel in midfield that we used to have. I'll tell you what he wouldn't have done. He would have had an absolute crap game if he was up against any of our former, I would say, enforcers. If he was up against the Aussie, he would have smashed him. Jedi would have smashed him without a doubt. Clint Hill would have smashed him. Any of that lot. He wouldn't
Thomas,
get a game against
Andy
us.
Gray.
I'm just talking going back, just a few years. But we don't have that steel anymore. I thought Luca was going to come in and absolutely, but Luca he gets yellow cards now for pulling shirts. That's what he gets done. He trips and yellow cards. You don't see him leaping into tackles trying to smash someone up and him do a little bit of enforcing.
I think the Premier League's gone beyond the hard man enforcer. I think there's still that little side to Jimmy McCarthy. He likes to come and stick his boot in, doesn't he?
Yeah, so does Luca.
I think the days of kicking someone into Rosehead are long gone. One of my favourite parts of the game is when West Ham fans sing "You're too shit for England" to Wilf. He doesn't even play for England, and he's got more caps than Mark Noble. There you go.
So he doesn't play for England, and he's got more caps than Mark Noble. Love it. Right. Before we finish up, I want you to wrap up on West Ham in a second, Ian. Okay, but before you do, I'm setting the people watching at home a little bit of homework before the next show, which is following the Norwich game. I want you to please come up with your hated 11, and I'm going to give you the first three, that your most hated players. And I'm going to give you Mark Noble. I'm going to give you James Ward-Prowse. And I'm going to give you Troy Deeney. Okay, there's your starting three. Now I want you all at home to build a team around my three. Okay, they're the people I cannot bear. I'm sure I've got another one somewhere. I might pluck out.
You've missed the obvious one.
Go on, who have I missed out?
Lewis Dunk.
No, he said Lewis Dunk. Lewis Dunk's for me.
Jesus.
Lewis Dunk for me. He is what he is. He is what they sing. Okay, and I can't do that because for legal stuff, so we're not going to do any of that.
She said no, Lewis. You can always put allegedly.
Yeah, she said no. Okay, move on. Right, okay, so Mark Noble, James Ward-Prowse, Troy Deeney, there's your starting three. Away you go, folks at home. I would like that handed in before class at the beginning of the next show, please. Ian, crack on with the West Ham game, mate.
Right, well, that was it. We scored right at the last bit, didn't we? We scored at the last. I mean, but a couple of stats from that. Palace recorded Premier League double over West Ham for just the second time, having previously done so in the 13-14 season under Pulis. The team that scores first hasn't won any of the past 6 Premier League encounters between the two, with the Eagles coming from behind to win 2-1 in both meetings this season. Ayew scored 21 goals in the Premier League, with 20 of those being netted in the second half, 95% of his goals in the second half. The highest such ratio of any player with 20 or more goals in the competition's history. And Wilf completed 12 dribbles for Palace in this game, the most by a player in the Premier League since Eden Hazard in February, where he had 13 versus Huddersfield.
Right, Jel, just coming to you next, okay? A couple of updates in the chat. Of course, the other obvious couple. Thank you, Max, for giving us Etienne Capoue, okay, in the hated scene. And the team will be managed, of course, by Eric Cantona, okay, or whatever you want to call him. Jel.
No, you just done it.
Oh, sorry, was that were you going to cover that? Sorry, mate. Okay, so, well, ultimately, Ben, that...
Yeah, I thought we were doing the chat and you was hosting the show.
Yeah. I stand corrected. Mistake. Ben, I'm coming to you now because ultimately that's cost Pellegrini his job. I I don't think that an awful lot of West Ham fans are too concerned about that. But do you think he deserved to go?
I think when you drop as many points as he had with the money he spent, he was staring down the barrel of a gun from, losing to us was going to tip it over. They were always going to give him one last game. I feel a bit sorry that it was Leicester, who we've said probably the best team to visit Selhurst this season, but it was their reserve team, and they still couldn't beat them. So, I think he was always going to go. I just think it's funny that they sacked David Moyes to bring him in, and now it's
they're going to bring David Moyes, his favourites, come back in again. What's all that about? I must admit.
They're fishing in a different pond now, aren't they? They're not. They're trying to attract a manager to take him into the top 8. They're one that's trying to fight off relegation.
Well, so they're fishing in a stagnant pond in a minute.
Well,
they certainly are.
I would have put my money on them going after Benitez, but I don't think they've got the time to probably get it done. So Moyes probably fits for the time being.
Okay, Snodgrass has made it. Snodgrass has made it into the 11, folks. I've seen it in there. Okay, but I'm not going to do the chat because I get told off. There is a personal message I would like to send out before we, Ian, when you get ready for the start of the Southampton game, if you'd be so kind. Personal message. I am aware of 2 very serious medical issues in and around Selhurst Park on that evening. One of them is a very good friend of mine, Steve Cox, who was in the pub before the game, had a heart attack. Okay, he's had a couple of stents fitted and he's on the road to recovery. He's now back home with his family. Steve, I'm sending you my love and the love of everybody at Red and Blue with you, mate. And I'm also aware that as I left the stadium, somebody was on the ground having a bit of heart compression massaging going on outside the old stand near the players' entrance. I don't know who that was. It was a different incident to Steve's. And whoever that is, sending you our love and best wishes, whoever you are. Okay, and so two bits of sad news to end on a positive victory, but we're thinking of you both. So best wishes to you and your families. Ian, over to you.
Right, okay, on to the Southampton game then. Okay, 2 games in 3 days saw us really, really thin on the ground. PVA is obviously out. There were also talk, perhaps, of one of the other defenders being out, whether it was Kelly or whether it was going to be Tompkins. I think the press was suggesting it might be Tompkins, but we were thinking it might be Kelly.
It was Tompkins complaining of a thigh all the way up to the morning.
Okay.
So they were working on the premise to understand that Tompkins would play, but he kind of assured them that he was okay. Chiarte had a fitness test past it. Chiarte had a fitness test past it, but was put on the bench.
Okay, cool. Good stuff. So we lined up Gaeta in goal, Kelly right back, Tompkins, Sacco, centre-back pairing for second game running, Riedeveld on the left now, starting. Then Meyer, McCarthy, Milivojevic, MacArthur, Zaha and Ayew. And on the bench we had the elusive Mr. Camarasa.
Who? He's a cardboard cutter.
Chiarte, Woods, Perrick and Daly. Perrick, I'd just love to see him for 10 minutes, give him 10 minutes. Anyway, so on to the match. So again, bit like the West Ham game, trying to, and then 15 minutes, the probably controversial to the
Ian,
yes.
Ian, I'm going to drop you down for a minute, please, because you're breaking up. Jel, I'm going to hand over to you because you wanted to talk about something on the chat, please.
No, I'm just going to go through the chat because, we've now found out that people do like a bit of a shout out every now and then. So I saw that Max Francis is there, Andrew Salter, Graham Kitcher. I saw also Lee Gilbert, away day Eagle.
Was Lee? Hello, Lee.
Yeah, Lee's here. Yeah, and he did make a post. He did say about how pleased he was. Yeah, he said Gyro's impressing me greatly. I think we've got a very good player finally coming through. I don't know what was up with him the other day, whether he was injured or when he was taken off at half time. I mean, we said he looked like he had an injury and joked that it was his passing that was injured because he was absolutely toilet. But you can see that he's got something about him without a doubt. So maybe it was just nerves. I don't know, but I'm really pleased, as Lee said about him making a step up. So, but yeah, I mean, everything's pretty positive in here. It really is
good.
Today. Daniel Garlick
Jel.
as well.
Jel, he did. He was injured before the game. He was touch and go whether he'd played before as well. So he played 45 and they pulled him.
Ian, sorry to interrupt you, mate. Carry on.
That's cool. Right, yeah. So VAR. Nice little run down the left by Wilf. And then cross the ball into the box. Maya on the spot, buries it. Top left-hand corner, goal. So everyone thought. And then you get VAR all over again. And rightly so, I guess, because the law is the law. I know Ben and I were discussing this beforehand as whether the law is the problem as opposed to VAR. And, he's probably right because VAR, no matter what anyone whinges or moans or says about it, is getting the decisions right the vast majority of the time. It's just the way it's being used. So, goal, then no goal. After that, the game starts to become a bit scrappy with some irritating fouls from both sides. And the game again just plays on that way until half time. And then in the second half, it starts off quite brightly. And on 50 minutes, we get a free kick just on the edge of the box or just about 10 metres outside the box. And Luca, who's been putting some great dead ball deliveries in the last 5 or 6 games, whips over this perler of a free kick. And Tompkins, who was superb throughout the game, to be fair, and was equally as good against West Ham, just buries his header. I mean, he couldn't have placed it there any better. Top right-hand corner, gave McCarthy absolutely no chance. And thankfully, there was no hint of offside or anything along those lines. And we were 1-0 up.
Can I just interrupt you, Ian? Can I just interrupt you?
Go for it.
Jel, on the subject of VAR and the offside. Go for it, mate.
Right. So earlier on, I was contacted by a guy called Matt Miller. You might remember. He reminded me of, but he said he's a football coach and referee amongst other things. So I'm going to have to read these off of 4 pictures. But he's turned around and sent me basically offside position. He said any part of the head, body or feet is nearer to the opponent's goal line than both the ball and the second last opponent. The hands and arms of all players, including the goalkeepers, are not. Hang on a second. Are not. Trying to think where it is now. I think what he's basically saying is that the interpretation in the rules don't count arms and hands, and this is what VAR is counting. I heard something yesterday on the commentary, and this is what I replied to him. Because I watched part of it live where I could, and they turned around and said that the line was drawn with Wilf to his armpit, and where he was leaning forward, that's where he's offside from. So I don't understand. I don't understand. Honestly,
So are you saying
I don't understand this ruling.
Are you saying that the arm wasn't offside, but the armpit was? Is that what you were actually trying to allude to?
Well, no, I think what happened was, if you actually look, it looks like Wilf's arm is sort of, he's leaning, but his arm is going downwards, and I think with the furthest back defender, his arm, I think, or his hand was roughly in the same position, but where he was standing upright and Wilf was already moving forward, as in leaning forward and about to make the move to skin the left back twice before he got the ball over. That's where he became offside. So, but it's just a complete fiasco. It really is. And I think there's such a controversy. Do you know what? There's been more controversy with VAR halfway through our season than the entirety of all of the tournaments, the complete tournaments, and where it was tested completely. We have had more trouble with it than all that lot put together. And what VAR is doing now as well is it's not looking for problems, and what it's looking for 100% accuracy, which it's getting wrong, by the way. It's looking for another excuse to not give a goal. Now, they used to turn around and say that if the defender and a forward was level, then you're supposed to give the benefit of the doubt well, this is what people like Gary Lineker, who I'm sure hates Palace, he's turned around and said the forward should be given the benefit of the doubt. Now what you're doing is you're giving the benefit of the doubt to the defenders, making it even harder to score goals, and good goals at that. I mean, look at that picture. That is to give that.
That is offside, the armpit. That is the armpit.
Yeah, but if you look at his armpit and then look at the line, look at his right foot. We were only talking about heads and hands. We were only talking, about hands and arms. The foot is. I can't understand. Who was in charge of VAR as well?
Andre Mariner.
There you go. Says absolutely everything. I think he's been in charge of our last 2 games, 2 out of the last 3 at least. VAR.
Yeah, he was ref against West Ham. He actually refed against West Ham.
It's scandalous. That there. When you have respected footballers, and again, I don't like to refer to Lineker. I think it's too controversial for me. But when you have people like Gary Lineker and loads and loads of ex-players. Now listen, we was all going, yeah, VAR, brilliant. We were free from free at the beginning of the season. Now we're having good goals ruled out, and this is, this is. I don't know. It's more than frustrating.
Right. Okay, I'm going to jump in. Ben, hang on to a minute because I'm coming straight to you. Me and Jel are going to step out of this a minute because I want to talk to Ian and Ben only. Okay, Ben, you hate it. Ian, you love it. Okay, what I'd like you two to do, I've allocated 2 minutes of the show to the pre-show discussion that you two had. Go. Ian, you start.
Oh, all right. Okay, well, I see that as being offside. That's what I was asking Jel, is that I don't see a problem with that. It's just as what I said earlier, it's how it's being used. Now, the reason it was so successful in the World Cup is because they allowed the referees to go and make their own decision. And Jel and Ben and yourself have quite rightly pointed out that when you've got another person 60 miles away making that decision on behalf of the referee on the pitch, that's where it's going wrong. For consistency's sake, it has to be, ref, this is what happened, this is it, it's touch and go, because there is also a tolerance level on Hawkeye and this, and maybe they should be bringing something in along those lines. If it's as tight as that, then that's within the tolerance level. And as Jill quite rightly says, it used to be the attacker that got the benefit of the doubt, and that's how it should be. For me, as things stand, that is offside, because I think what the guy was getting at, Jel, earlier, was that obviously you can't score with your hands or your arms, and therefore the armpit is the first point of the body in that particular instance where he could have actually scored from, thinking that, logically that it would be his shoulder. But I agree, if you look at his foot is actually over the line on that.
Ben?
I don't hate VAR. It's the future. It's agreed. I don't think that the consultation was done properly. I don't think they were actually really consulting players. I think that the VAR is not going to change, so therefore the offside rule has to change.
Okay, sorry, can you go, mate?
The whole point of VAR to come in was clear and obvious. And if those goals, and you're talking Brighton, you're talking Norwich, you're talking Watford today, they are not clear and obvious. The facility is there for referees to go and use a monitor at the side of the pitch. They're choosing not to do it. Therefore, they're deferring their opinion, their decision-making to someone in a van 60 miles away, and they have zero accountability for it. It's referees absolving themselves of any kind of blame, pushing it over to someone 60 miles away, just making a VAR sign and calling offside. I think the offside rule needs to change, whether there's the last part of the body has to stay offside or onside. And I think the referees need to start coming out and explaining some decisions.
Gentlemen, that was really informative. Thank you both. But Jel, the last word on the VAR is going to you. How do we resolve it? Ben's just given you a couple of tips, but how do we resolve the problem of VAR?
Do you know what? Sometimes things are not always for the best. And the purist in me, and I'm not a football purist, but if I was asked, keep it or kick it out, I would kick it out. I would absolutely kick it out. And I think what we need to do, if you don't, then what you need to do then is you just bin the referees and the linos and just play to the, just play till the ball goes out and then go backwards, and it'll just end up being, it'll slow the Premier League down, because you'll end up with 120-minute games, and players are not they're not built to last 120 minutes these days. They'll be standing around for 20 minutes a game waiting for 3, 4, 5, 6 decisions that take 2, 3, 4 minutes sometimes. I just think that it's what they've tried to do. They've tried to, if it ain't broke, don't try and fix it. But if you're going to take the responsibility, and I said this to you the other day, I said to everyone, the Premier League, they bottle everything. They absolutely bottle everything. They try and absolve all responsibility. Always have done, and they always will do. And now they've done it with this. So if referees are absolving themselves responsibility, then get rid of the referees. No, seriously, it's either that or do what they do in hockey and have multiple referees. Don't just have a lino who wants to stick his flag up, can't stick his flag up, won't stick his flag up, scared to stick his flag up, crookedly sticks his flag up. Just bin them. Either have loads of them, either have a lino in 2 linesmen in each half, and 2 or 3 referees. It's what you got to do. It's the only way forward. And get rid of this. Just get rid of this crap. This is cool. What it's doing is taking the spontaneity out of football.
Ultimately, they've spent too much money and they're too far down the road to remove VAR. I think the emerging markets of which the Premier League wants to go is America, as we know, in the Far East, and they want to see goals. We've had 22 goals disallowed this season. That's 22 goals, and that's not just you're talking the ramifications of a team chasing a game, or coming for an equaliser, going for a winner. 22 goals have been ruled out this season from questionable offside decisions. I think ultimately it would be the outside forces which the Premier League listen to, which are sponsors and the money men, who will change the rules.
Guys, absolutely fascinating 3-way chat there, and I think you guys are, hang on a minute, you guys are to be applauded on that one, okay? Because that was probably one of the most informative chats for the 3 of you have ever done. So well done. What I'd be also interested to know, and Ian, we're going to finish off in the Southampton game next, if you'd be so kind. I'd be interested to know out there, has it out of those 22 goals that have been disallowed, has anybody created a league of who's had the worst, or who's had the most, and who's had the least going into?
I think Wolves top the league of having the worst decisions against them.
No, not the worst. The worst
the
amount.
Most go against the most points taken off them, I think, is Wolves.
Is it? I thought you were going to say. And down the bottom, would it be Liverpool? Or?
I think those two have certainly benefited the last 2 games. They've been calling it, what was it, Liverpool, Manchester Var City or something.
Jel, I'm coming to you in the chat after Ian's completed the second half of the West Ham game, please. Ian?
Okay, just quickly then, there's only 2 more points. 63 minutes, Moussa Djenepo comes on and, for me, changes the game. Now, I've mentioned him a couple of times on the pod over the last few weeks as someone I really like, and I could see us, moving for someone like him as a Wilf replacement. This kid's got skill and ability and loves to run. He's almost a Balassi-esque in that regard. And then we seem to be dealing with it. It's a bit like the Alamo. You can see that the 2 games in 3 days has kicked in. Everyone's getting leggy. And I can understand why Hodgson didn't bring any of the kids on, but I'd love to have just seen 10 minutes, 15 minutes of that little burst of pace from someone like Brandon Perrick. And then on 74 minutes, we do all their work for them, a disaster. And poor Kelly, who is beyond reproachable on this. I think all the crap I've seen that people have been giving Kelly on social media is just bonkers. And they just simply do not understand what we have in that guy and what a stalwart and what a proper pro he is, and just plays, and he puts in unheralded performances, but he gets us out of jail so many times. So this is his mulligan, as it were. And he essentially puts Ings through, plays it behind Tompkins, and Ings, who's absolutely on fire. There was only going to be one outcome, and that was it. And he was put it in the back of the net. And then up until the end, it was a question of Gator. He actually kept us in the game. He's pulled off at least three great saves that got us a much deserved and well needed point.
Thank you very much, Jel. What have we unearthed in Vicente Guaita? What have we unearthed?
Yeah, he's a good goalkeeper. And the thing is, if he gets any better or keeps his stats up, we're going to just lose him to a bigger club. So, yeah, I mean, what he does is he fills the defence with confidence.
Yep.
And although like he dropped a ball at the foot of a Brighton forward in that game and was lucky to not concede a goal, and he did it again against West Ham. But yeah, I mean, everyone makes mistakes. So, but I just need to go quickly into the chat. And John Knox said, why don't we use the TV? Why don't we turn it round in the grounds? They're not doing that this season, John. They would turn around and said, Mark Borshall said, I've said it before, but the clowns on the pitch getting it wrong are also making the decisions from the studio. Grant Saunders said, referees who always have the vision of the replay and to make the final call. Having someone reviewing incident who is not up to speed with a match is ludicrous. Continuity is a simple solution. Lee Lockwood said, I wish they would relay the views as they happen at the grounds rather than the fans just standing there looking at a purple screen. But they won't do that. They don't replay, as you might have seen at Palace. They don't replay any controversial decisions. And as soon as there's a bad foul, yellow card, red card, or whatever, they turn it. The screen goes off. They don't do it so as not to antagonise the crowd. Andrew Salter said, my bug is that the defender's armpit is used when the goal can be prevented by a defender's arm. So, yeah, and then Simon Krebbin said, Ben's absolutely right, change the offside rule. Paul Alden said, would have loved to have had VAR at Bristol City when Freddie Sears scored. Good that was. If VAR give Palace a 95th minute winner in the FA Cup final versus Liverpool, wasn't against Liverpool, we played United twice. But anyway, he said, I'd keep it. And Lee Lockwood said again, what actually is the fourth assistant at the games? What are they for? Nigel Crouch said the Premier League.
I'm not having that.
Yeah, it's just an old boys. Well, he said it's an old boys network. The Way Day Eagle said VAR is fine if watching on TV. It's horrible if you're watching from the stadium. Football is an emotive sport, and that's being taken away. So yeah, I mean, there's more. There's less positive comments about VAR than. So it's again, like I said last time, I think what needs to happen is there needs to be decisions on if the referee and the linesman see a perfectly good. See, this is the other thing. I'm trying to say, if the referee and the linesman see that as a goal, then give it as a goal. But then all they'll do is they'll do what we've had for years with the top six getting away with offside goals, and that goal, the Burnley one that beat Chelsea the other day, that wouldn't have got given because the liner had his flag up, so wrongly. So I suppose it is what it is. I mean, it's one of the things, like I said to you before, that makes me fall just that little bit less in love with the Premier League than when we first got there. The excitement just gets less and less and less.
Right, I think we'll draw a line under it there. Thank you, boys. Ben, you wanted to put one footnote on it?
Just first of all, Tompkins getting hate. One place he didn't get hate was our page.
Red and Blue News.
We appreciate the post, and it got the biggest interaction of some of the posts we've ever done. The bloke has been nothing but a model professional from us from the minute he signed. The minute he signed, literally, Pulis walked out the back door on him. I think they went dry and out he went. He said, I
remember that.
Martin Kelly, you mean? Not Tompkins.
Yeah, that was Martin Kelly. Yeah, sorry. And he said, I didn't think I trained that badly, which was brilliant. But I've got some stats for you.
Yeah, go on, mate.
Stats. Right, centre-backs win ratio. The highest win ratio with the centre-backs is Sacco, but he's played less minutes than all of them.
Yeah.
That's 57%. Kelly, then at 47%, he's played more than any other centre-back or defender, and that's 15 games. Then it's Cahill at 33, and then it's Tonks at 25, and Dan at 20%. So I think we can forgive Kelly that and a hell of a lot more for what he's done for us as a player, as a professional, and as a bloke yesterday, because he went straight to the crowd yesterday and was waving hands saying sorry.
And one thing I won't forgive him for, or Joel Ward, or the other two that are involved in it, was the Christmas onesie picture they put out on social media. Boys, you need to have a long, hard look at it like yourself. But I must say, all four very tiny wives.
Is that what you were doing?
Very tiny wives.
What first attracted you to multi-millionaire footballers?
Yeah, I wonder. Right, now stop there, boys, because we're going to come on to something. Ian and Jel, Ben and I are about to... Hang on. Ben wants to...
Just really quickly. Just really quickly, because you said to me about Guaita and Jason Green has come up with something that's been said about other goalkeepers, the top goalkeepers in the Premier League. And he said Vincenzo Guaita is worth at least 15 points. Now, I remember some of the top managers at the top clubs turned around and said that a goalkeeper is worth about a third of what a goal scorer is worth. So where goal scorers win you all the games, a goalkeeper can also, can win you games.
Jel.
And that's I'm not sure he's worth 15 points, but if he is, then fantastic.
Thank you.
We need to move. Jel, Hennessy, if Hennessy was in goal yesterday, do we come away with a point yesterday?
Probably not.
And I think probably not.
Of the last 4 or 5 games we played this season, do we think we would have come away with the points total we have without Guaita? And I'm firmly in the no camp.
So am I. Listen, we need to crack on. Before we do, I don't normally refer to the chat. I normally leave it to you lads, as you know. Okay, but there is a gentleman watching this evening by the name of Paul McCartan. Paul, you know you've made the right choice, and you know why I'm saying it to you. I hope you're well. Love to see the family. Happy New Year, buddy. Roy Hodgson said after the game on transfers, because we're coming on to transfers next, and Ian and Jel, I'm about to throw you under a bus, okay? Roy Hodgson says, we talk about it. The chairman, Doug Freeman, I do love it, he calls him Doug Freeman. There's a genuine desire and interest to bring players in who can help us. We had that desire in the summer, but we couldn't bring it off, but it's still there. Now, Ben, are you going to do the question to the boys, or am I?
Well, do you want to talk about Hodgson afterwards then?
Yeah, do him afterwards.
If you could, who would you sign this transfer window? If you could, one player,
one name,
and you can't say Batshuayi, who would you go for? Who?
Giroud.
Okay.
No, good shout. Is he awake? He looks as though he's dozed off. Oh, he's still with us.
No. I'm reading the chat. I'd say the Rangers striker. Is it Moreno?
No. Do you know what you just done, you freak? You've just done it again, you freak.
Oh, really?
Okay, Ben, can you give Jel mine, please?
He would go for the same nutty Scott. Where's he from?
I think he's Chilean. Is he Chilean?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Nick said he'd go for the same Ranger striker, Morelos.
And you could tell that was unrehearsed.
If we couldn't get him, I would pay what it takes to get, upwards of 20 million to get Ollie Watkins.
Max said that. Lee said that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there is something about him. There really is something about him.
Right. Talking to our friend who usually knows things, there's no interest in Morelos at all. They haven't even really looked at it.
Is it Edouard at Celtic?
No, at Morelos, they haven't looked at him. There was, in the summer, a deal in place for Ollie Watkins. We went for him, and there was a deal agreed. And in spectacular Palace style, we ballsed it up. He then went on to sign a contract extension, which now puts him well out of our price range, but there was a deal done for him. Personally, if I was going to go out and sign a player now, I'd be looking at a Wilf replacement, and I'd be looking to the future, not looking for a 28, 29-year-old. So I would go for Eberechi Eze from QPR. We're
not bad. Yeah, but I also think that Moussa Djenepo.
There's a lot of teams sniffing around him, and if Palace aren't interested in a 21-year-old from Greenwich, released by Millwall, so I like him already. He's played under 21, he's played under 20, he's played 24 this year, scored 9 and 5 assists. If we're not all over players like that, then there is something seriously wrong with our scouting system.
But I thought that's what Parish wanted us to do, is to buy young British talent.
Well, Hodgson doesn't. There's your conflict.
This is it. This is exactly it. This is the juxtaposition that's going on at the club, and there just seems a massive disconnect somewhere down the line with our recruitment policy and a manager that, and I'm not decrying any of the fabulous work he's done, but he is willfully. And up until lately, willfully just picking from such a small select band of players that he's just going to run them into the ground.
And Jel?
Bonkers.
Jel?
Sorry, Georgie.
Well, Georgia Wagwoo's come up with probably the best selection so far, and one that I would definitely agree with. I think he would suit us down to the ground. And that's Mitrovic.
I just signed a new contract.
I've said for years.
To be fair,
he's just signed a new contract.
I would have him in a heartbeat. I would have him in a heartbeat. Absolutely. Yeah, I know. But everyone signs a new contract when it comes to January to steer off a bit of interest and get a little bit more. We've signed a new contract as soon as Chelsea became really interested in him. You know, he was part way through a 3-year deal.
I can help it.
Is he surfing George out? But yeah, I'd love to have Mitrovic. I think he's everything as well. I'll tell you what he is. He's ag. He is ag, and he knows where the goal is. He's skillful. Doesn't have to be fast, but I think just sit him up there with someone else. Even him, and Jordan. Well, I think that again would.
But that goes down to the manager changing the system
for us,
isn't it? That comes down to a manager changing that he don't play 2 up top, and if he's going to play a big lump up top, he's got 2 of them already.
Yeah, but if we're chasing a game, we have to. But if we're chasing a game, we play 3 up top. So I don't get how we go from 1 to 3 trying to chase a game. You know, it's like they say we have no plan B, but we do when we're chasing a game. But there's chasing a game and there's wanting to win a game. That's the thing, you know. I think the next manager's missed our best players. That'll be the real shame of it. Is we'll never know how good our team could have been because of this strive just to stay in the Premier League at all costs.
I think. Okay, you just brought up the manager. So Ben, over to you about the manager.
Hold on. When you've it's not Dougie Friedman. It's not Roy. I don't think it's even Parish's. The problem is those 2 businessmen sitting in America that don't support Palace. We are just another spreadsheet in their investment portfolio. So if they're sitting there today looking at a spreadsheet and they're looking at Palace, they're looking at a team that they've spent, how much did they spend in the summer? 6 million, 7 million? That are sitting there on 27 points that only need 3 wins and a couple of draws to guarantee them the money of a Premier League income next year, and the attractiveness to selling the club is what they want to do. Where's the impetus on them to go and spend 30-40 million that we need? It ain't. So there he's got to find value for money, which is straight in the team and trust to do the job, which is what he does.
Joe?
So the Americans, what they do is they throw a bit of money at it, but they want it back at the end of the season.
Yep.
That's what it said in the expenses when the accounts were done. They said that the loans, the personal loans, were paid back to Parish, the 2 Americans. So, yep. And again, we haven't spent any money in January, so we haven't borrowed any money yet. But as soon as we do, I'll tell you what I was a little bit miffed about. Again, lies again, was we were told that when Aaron was sold, that money wasn't available because it was to pay back the £32 million that we got into debt through last season. So we were debt free. But now we find out that we were only actually paid half of that money by Man United, and we've now sold the other half to an Australian investment company. So I just get, this smoke and mirrors thing with Parish. Can't let Parish the Americans keep getting a kick in for this. Parish is the all important person here. He has the ability to I'm pretty sure, force the Americans into spending money. Because if not, then he must be able to he must be able to sell their stakes.
The only thing they can do.
Well, so what about Hoskin?
Hoskins, I think he's a less than 2 or 3, 4%. Both him and Browett reduced their shares massively.
Yeah, the two Yanks are over 51%. They run it.
The only thing that Parish could do is find another investor, which he's trying to do, and then to buy them out. But as long as they sit there as an investment, as I said, you look at your bank balance and you see that you spent 8 million. Palace more than likely will be in the Premier League next year, and that's another 150 million. Where's the impetus on them to go and spend fortunes when they've already got a manager and a squad that are performing up and above? My concern is that Hodgson has now said in several interviews, this is a bit demoralising, and if I'm the manager next season, hasn't signed a contract, if he doesn't get the money or the backing he wants, I think we're looking at a new manager in the summer.
Yeah, and I know you wanted to make that point, Ben, so thank you for that. Jel.
Well, just while we're on the point of smoke and mirrors and everything else. So Andrew Adams in the chat has turned around and said, also, the price of assets go up if we stay up, and if we have planning permission for a new stand, no chance. And for the new academy, no chance. We have to spend money on the team before we can think about spending £200 million on a new stand and the academy, right? When we're about to sell Wilf at any time, we're about to sell Wilf. That will not pay for anything at all. That will have to go on players. We'll have to buy 2 or 3 players to cover what he gives us. It's as simple as that. That will pay debts off. And what we need are people that are willing to be proper billionaires and use us not as an investment to try and make a few quid, but we need people that like the investors that have done. I mean, Man City is a different thing, but at Leicester and at Bournemouth,
dodgy Russian.
No, don't even talk. Let's not even talk about that, eh? Otherwise, we'll end up having to spill the beans, and there'll be people coming out of this with a shitload of egg over their face, and we'll get in trouble. But so all this stuff. I just want 30 more seconds, and all this stuff as well about Sainsbury's. Sainsbury's are holding us to ransom. Pretty much what Parish has done every single time a player, when we've had that player standing in front of us, and he has to all he has to do is pull the trigger. And what he tries to do is he tries to get people on the cheap. That's what I've heard on good authority. That is, it costs us players. And now because he won't pay Sainsbury's the money, and they don't care. Sainsbury's, from what I hear, that's the most profitable part of their profitable store. So they're not worried about us. They've got us. Anyway, right. Nothing's going to happen.
The only thing that could affect Sainsbury's is just media. It's their reputation if it ever gets tainted. Right, but you're right. I don't think it will.
Okay, right. Full stop there, gentlemen, because I've got, in case you haven't seen it in the chat, there is breaking news, and I'm laughing, okay, because thanks to Grant Saunders, they've just announced David Moyes as the new West Ham United manager. Boys over in that side of London, you are in banging trouble. And in fact, do you know what? You're an embarrassment. You brought Pellegrini in just for that. Ian, mute your microphone, Ian. Mute your bloody microphone. You brought Pellegrini in to replace Moyes, and then you've now sacked Pellegrini, and you brought in David Moyes. You are a joke of a football club.
I'll tell you something, Nick. Go on. If they're sacking Pellegrini, then is Eddie Howe still the Messiah with his win record? Because it's appalling.
He's going down. His stock is definitely falling. You're right.
I hate him. If he's the manager of having someone hate, I'd hate him. He's my hate manager.
Paul Holden has just said in the chat, if I were a Hammers fan, I'd rather have Chris Moyles than David Moyes at the club. I'm quite happy at either of them because I reckon that could be their final nail. I think what we'll do there, boys, is we'll announce a winner of a mug, do you? The much coveted Red and Blue review mug, the only podcast you can watch. Cheers.
One of these?
One of these. Where's yours, Ben?
In the cup.
You're fired. You're fired. Okay. And there it is, the only podcast you can watch. And I've got to say, I was absolutely amazed at the response to Ian's little pre-Christmas competition. So thanks for doing it, Ian. And thank you for your hard work you put in, Mr. Spreadsheet over there. And
fine.
we have a winner. Are you going to do it or should I do it?
Yeah, I know, I'll do it. Yeah, no, thanks. 81 entrants. That was really, really good. So the winner, who was within 9 of the actual attendance, there was 25,462, and he even got the score right as well, was Alf Weller. So we'll be in touch, Alf. We'll get your details, and then we'll make sure that the mug is on its way.
Yeah, congratulations, Alf. And thank you for entering, Alf, and thank you for entering everybody else that did enter. It was really good, so very popular. There will be some more available. Alf, if you are watching this or listening to the podcast, either get in touch with me personally or Lucy Usher via Messenger and send us your details, and we'll get that sent direct to you. Yes, Jill? Jill?
I don't. I'm probably out of turn saying this, but I think what we're going to do, if we just tell people, we're probably going to end up doing sometime soon. We're going to do a monthly competition for the mugs, so people don't be too disappointed that you haven't won this time.
That means more spreadsheets.
There will be other chances.
Yeah, you love it.
You love it,
right?
Well, yeah, no. And following on from that, what we've been talking about potentially doing some merch. So look out for a post on the page as to for suggestions of what type of merch people would be interested in.
I think what we're going to do there before I wrap up, Ben, I'm going to drop you down if that's okay with you.
Hold on, you've got to do your Hodgson end of year stats. You haven't done your Hodgson stats, man.
Oh, go on in. You do it because I haven't got them to hand.
Calendar year in the year 2019, we played 57 games.
Yeah.
We won 16, drew 19, lost 13, scored 52, let in 49, giving us a +3 goal average and 57 points. So if that was a league table, we would be 7th in that league and would finish above Spurs and Arsenal, both on 56, and would finish above a certain team on the South Coast who would be bottom on 34. We haven't got any team in the bottom half this season. Hodgson's points per game ratio is 1.5 points per game. It's the highest points total by January the 1st, and he should have been in the New Year's honours list. Rise, Sir Roy.
I think that's absolutely fascinating stuff. Ben, thank you for joining us this evening. I think you'll agree, boys. He's created some great conversation there. And
cheers, Ben.
And I think the tagline of the show is "Let's have a conversation." Well, you certainly generated that. Ben, thank you for joining us, mate, and Happy New Year to you and your family. And we'll see you again, no doubt, in the new year. So what happens next from here on in? We go into an away fixture. I think it's 5 o'clock against Norwich City at Carrow Road. I know lots of you are going up there. It's 5:30, according to Lucy's caption she's put up. I've got a couple of things I want to finish up on, if you don't mind, boys. Obviously, I'm wishing you two a Happy New Year, but thanks to everybody in the background of Red and Blue News. Ladies and gentlemen, there is lots going on that we are delighted to be able to tell you about in the new year soon. I'm not going to go into any details, but we've got lots of exciting stuff going on. And Ian and Lucy and Greg, they're all working tirelessly on our behalf just to make this show better and better and better. We have got some news coming up I'm not going to allude to now, but very exciting stuff. I think it's fair to say this has been probably the most successful year in the history of Red and Blue Review, and we want to take it from strength to strength. I hope everybody out there watching this evening and everybody listening on the podcast is enjoying what we're doing. Final words, please, from you first, Ian.
Yeah, I hope everyone had a good Christmas, and I wish everyone a Happy New Year.
Mr. Holyoke.
I'm just going to do whoever's just answered me just very quickly. Scores against Norwich. Scott McVeigh said 2-1 to us. Georgia Wagru said 17-30. That's a lot of goals, George.
I'll take it, mate.
I know it's the time. Jeez. Mukhtar Butter said 2-1 Palace. Steve Chandler said 1-1. So yeah, again, positive. I can see us getting something, but again, these are for these teams now down the bottom. We've been there, and we know what it's like to have to absolutely scrap for every single point after Christmas. This is, the next 4 weeks are literally make or break for the bottom 3. Sadly, I think Watford are going to get out of it. I hate to say it, but gutted really. And George
could mean West Ham drop into it, though.
Well, the thing is, again, they just look so disjointed, and I think you can see. You alluded it so earlier with Bonner and Noble massively arguing during the game. You remember when Wilf and other players were, we were suffering when Wilf was arguing with everybody, and I think that's what's going on with West Ham now. I think they really, really are. They're
toxic.
they're really suffering. Yeah, they are toxic. They're toxic inside out, and and long may it continue. But yeah, so George says 2-1 Palace, and Andy Stacey said great show once again tonight. Happy New Year to you, Red and Blue News. Thank you. And George said very funny, Jill, and we're above Arsenal. And on that,
we are above Arsenal.
Actually,
on the New Year's Eve, every year we spend it with a gooner and his missus, Alison and Paul, and I am going to be so pleased to go up there and give it to him. But I think he went up there today as well, and I texted him, and they were winning 1-0, and he just texted me the thumbs up. It wasn't until I got in the motor on the way home from work and they lost. Oh, it's going to be even joyous now. So,
I think. Did you want to say something before I wrap up?
Yeah, I was just saying, because Joe was saying about playing teams at the bottom. I might have been dreaming it because it was on first thing this morning. Match of the day, they said that we have not lost to anyone in the bottom half of the table this season. Which for us, if that is true, for us that's phenomenal, because normally they're exactly who we lose to. So that's where we're getting the points from.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, you can find this and every other one of our back catalogue at our website, redandbluereview.co.uk. Go pop on there, have a look, okay? Have a playback. There's some great interviews, some good shows, and some not so good shows. My name is Nick Philpott. I wish you and the team on Red and Blue Review a very happy New Year. God bless. See you soon. See you in the post-Norwich game. Good night, everyone. Good night.
Have a look at the Big Ed's website.